Yeah, thank you, Dario, and welcome everyone to this very interesting panel discussion. I know we are approaching slowly the end of this program, but especially in Spain, now at 3 o'clock is the time of the siesta, but at least I hope I can get your attention. It is definitely worth. So we are talking about the industrial IoT, and the title is Maximizing Benefits and Managing the Risk. And also what we really want to understand is when implementing IoT technology in industrial environments, it can unlock many benefits. Tactical, the strategical, but also the transformative. So not sure where is Tanya, but thank you very much, Tanya, for these very great insights. But now already I want to, because I'm not alone here, I want to introduce my experts who will be also the focus on this panel discussion. Maybe let's start with Oguz Kirmizi. He's the founder and the CEO at Rotiot, now for more than 5 years. And what he just told me, actually, that Rot, it is in German red. It comes also from his last name. Was very interesting. Thank you for sharing this. And he has been, before founding this, he is already more than 15 years in the industry sector in general. And also next to Oguz, I have here with me Richard Stamvik. He's the director of software service at Multitech. And he has been now more than 8 years with Multitech. And Multitech in China is an IoT solution provider of many IoT modules. And then next to me, Thomas Hasenoehrl. You already saw him before on stage in one of our keynotes. He's the vice president of IIoT system solution at WIKA Group. He has been, he already explained before where WIKA comes from, and he has been more than 24 years already with WIKA. And then next to Thomas, I have with me Víctor Claver Lopez. I think he had the shortest way to IoT Sparks. He's from Valencia, actually directly from the port here. And he's the COO and Managing Director at NESPRA Smart Devices. Also, before founding this, he also has been working in the industry sector as a consultant. And now, before we dig deeper into the topic, I also want to wake you up a bit more, because I know maybe you're feeling the siesta. But when we speak about industrial IoT, what comes to your mind? So what do you think about it? So I want that you take the time, think about it while we are now asking our experts. So maybe Thomas, you can.
Yeah, from my perspective, there's a huge difference between IoT and IIoT, because industrial in IoT stands, from my perspective, really for solutions and products which are reliable, accurate, robust, of course, because as mentioned before, we are dealing with customers in very critical application as well, and that is the reason why our customers also are very conservative and want to have a lot of documents and certifications and stuff like that, really to have it bulletproofed for their application. And that's the reason why from my perspective, I see industrial as a quality standard within the complete environment. So that is my point of view and my understanding about industrial within the industrial IoT.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for sharing that with us. And I think also, Víctor, maybe can share some examples of industrial IoT to also get a better understanding of it.
Sure. I'm going to follow up on Thomas. definition of IoT. We look at solutions that they increase productivity, they reduce costs, and improve quality. It can be quality of producing materials or manufacturing, but it can be also quality of workers, like the labor risk management for workers in difficult environments. Coming from that, I'm going to go through like 3 examples of projects that we've carried out over the last years. One is a wine bottling plant that basically we monitor the whole production line so we can get like KPIs for management to take decisions. But also, we monitor the cleaning in place processes, which for this industry, which is food and beverage, is critical. Which you have to run cleans after every production run, and you have to comply with all the food and beverage standards. And that's something that's important because you have all the historical data. You can access that data immediately. You don't need to request the data to someone else. And that's another good thing about IoT. Data needs to be available for everyone within the organization, not just a specific operator in one local machine. The other one is a water waste management plant, treatment plant. We've got a client who's got these installations across Spain, and they all manage all the treatments remotely due to the IIoT. It allows them to see in real-time data from anywhere in the world how the treatment is performing, how the water is being cleaned, and all the parameters that can go wrong, they are not poured into the main water streams that we all drink after that. And the third one, and is focusing on labor, is one of the biggest manufacturers of kitchen surfaces in Spain. We carried out a project with them where we monitor the air quality of the manufacturing plants because the casuistic of their manufacturing and the materials that they use, they produce a lot of volatile particles, and they might be harmful for the labor. So we deploy a wireless system monitoring all the volatile particles, and they can see in real time, if it's healthy or not. They have to stop production or something has gone wrong.
Yeah, perfect. Also, thank you for sharing actually how diverse it also is, the industrial IoT. And now, when we really dig deeper now into the topic and exploring, also based on the examples you have been, also the projects you have been working on, maybe also now Oguz. So when we're talking about the benefits, I think you also have good examples, especially having many projects in oil and gas, and maybe you can share some.
Yeah, maybe benefits, but most important, we can talk about values, added values, if we have to calculate return of investment or reduce the downtime, etc. But if you implement something in oil and gas refinery, for me, more benefits to save the life of the people. This you cannot calculate with every cost or every money. That's most important. You have to be sure for people life, And as we system integration company, we work with partner companies for production or products, for example, and we get this product and have to install in the refinery, It's explosion area. You can imagine you put battery wrong or everything something, and you can get in the oil or air, explosion, for example. I think if we can offer IoT solution, for example, for oil gas industry, we have to be sure of benefits, for example, people life. As Pierre told today, it's very important to save the people life. It's for oil and gas best benefits, And after that, we can talk about return of investment in each years, That's done. We have to see different cases and be sure for mention for people, That's the more benefits.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for sharing this. And I think it's an interesting part because you're really speaking about the safety of worker, so the impact on the human being. I think also, Rich, you can maybe have a different angle here and would like to share with us.
Yeah, on the benefit side, a friend of mine working in finance, he once said that if it doesn't make money or save money or keep you out of jail, then it's no good. That's not entirely true, because there are many other values, as you pointed out. It's safety and quality and reinsurance and trust, etc. Part of the benefit is being able to do stuff that you could not do before, or you make things simpler, or you achieve a saving of some shape and form. What you point out there, I think, is pretty key. If you can improve the quality of life, if you can improve safety, if you can improve trust, there you have a benefit that is sometimes hard to measure. It's intangible, but still it does provide a lot of value. But so many cases today, specifically in the industrial sector, is focused on saving money. Yeah, we do things in a more efficient way. We can achieve it anyway. We can read the volume of a tank of oil manually. It's going to cost more than if we do it automatically. We can monitor, for preventive maintenance purpose, the state of a machine. We just do it in a more efficient way with IoT. So that's that making savings on money otherwise spent. Yeah. But I would agree with you. The key saving here is those intangibles. How can we improve the quality of life, and how can we make things simpler?
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. And I think also now we really discussed many tactical benefits, but maybe also maybe Thomas or Víctor, you can also share some of the strategical benefits.
From a strategical point of view, we were part of a nice presentation regarding sustainability. So we all have to do something. If we are doing it as we did it the last decades, it will not change. So from my perspective, especially with the technology of IIoT, we are able to really offer benefits to improve processes. And with that, we can also then improve the sustainability, can reduce CO2, because that is, from my perspective, a very, very big homework we all have here on the globe. So I'm really looking forward to scale up quickly the solutions, not just from WIKA, from all of us, really to do something for Mother Earth, from my perspective.
Yeah, perfect. Now, I think let's move a bit into another direction, because we really now understood the benefits. We explored some of the benefits, also some examples. And now we want to understand what are the main challenges and the main blockers of implementing IIoT. Maybe, Rich?
Happy to comment on that. So in my mind, and I think I share this with lots of others, it's usability and ease of use, user experience, if you so wish. Because we are pretty good engineers, and we've done some fantastic solutions that are out there now, but they aren't always that easy to deploy and use. So identifying what the use cases are that people struggle with. Small, simple things like deploying a system, onboarding sensors onto a network, maintaining the system, ensuring it's always up to date, ensuring that it always runs, making those processes simpler, ideally automatic. You know the concept of zero-touch onboarding. You show up with your device and it magically onboards itself onto the network. That is technically achievable. We just haven't implemented it yet. So making things smoother. Compare how we set up a LP1 network with how you deploy your iPhone. I know it's a industrial versus consumer products and all that, but the ease of use, the concept of just make it work, just make it happen. It's not out of reach, it's perfectly doable. We just need to make that piece happen. So if we can make ease of use happen, that includes trust, implying a certain amount of security machinery under the hood, yeah? It implies quality of service as well as quality of hardware, etc. So all of those building blocks need to be in place, but once we have all that, ease of use follows.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point, which also often maybe might be forgotten. So thank you for sharing that with us. Also, now, Thomas, I think you might be having an interesting perspective to this, also, of course, coming from WIKA manufacturer.
So as a main challenge from my perspective, I already mentioned with which customers we are dealing with, so it's very, very conservative. So just one story from the past. In my former job, I supported electronic products, and I got a call from one of our clients from a petrochem industry, and he just want to have a recommendation when the next calibration cycle will happen with the device. And I just asked him, okay, what's the serial number to figure it out, and blah, blah, blah. And then I realized this device was in the field since 1991. So in that time, you already see how long a device has to last. Other topic is, for example, a substation for electrical power transmission. These systems are designed and manufactured to last 50 to 60 years from now. And that is one of the main challenges for me, to provide the customer with the evidence that the ecosystem, what we are offering, also lasts that long. And this is, from my perspective, with the customers we are dealing with, one of the main challenges to provide this evidence, and this is also reflecting then in longer processes. My speech is, be patient, so it will take time to convince all of the parties which are involved in such a project, because, as mentioned, IoT is not a one-man show, so we all have to work very close together to make that happen.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I think we already hear that it's really about the people involved, so the stakeholders involved, which are often also one of the challenges when implementing IIoT. I think, Oguz, you also can share an interesting point with an example. I think we already talked before about this, when we are about implementing it.
Yeah, as I explained to from oil and gas industry, there is more challenging as like other industrial IoT solutions or projects, and implementing is not so easy because you have requirements from the state or from the company, as Thomas told you. It's very conservative, And then, for example, for gas monitoring, for example, there is a requirement. You need to share the information from end device in milliseconds. We are talking about IoT, real-time monitoring, etc. That is the best challenge, I think. And on the other hand, the requirements is a very big issue in oil and gas industry. And already, if you implement sensor or install a sensor, you have more teams. They have to help you, for implementation in the field directly. There is an operator, just do the work, turn the valve, for example, in the oil. And without these people, you cannot do it. And you need other teams, for example, for cybersecurity or for integration of the software, etc. It's more challenge, I think.
No, it's a good point. And now, what I really want to focus now is talking again about the risks. You mentioned it already, cybersecurity. I also heard it, of course, from you. Security, I think it's one. Focusing on that, maybe, Rich, you can talk about security, also one of the perceived risks by the stakeholders, and how can we manage that?
Yeah, it's not security, it's trust. It's a feeling of trust. If you feel and you can quantify that trust, then you're home safe. Your security is then the mechanism enabling that trust. That can be achieved by cooperation standards. If we have security frameworks to certify things by, and technology to implement to ensure that we can certify it, then we come a long way. That's one piece. The other piece is understanding, and you started by asking what industrial IoT was. and you exemplified, I think, well, talking about oil and gas, it's understanding the context in which we deploy the technology. So we have all these fantastic IoT gizmos here. Now we need to apply to, in our case, oil and gas. That means understanding of what the oil and gas requirements are so that we can tune the technology right. And security is a key piece of that, because each vertical has its own scope on security, on usability, on timeliness response, et cetera, et cetera. So the context in which technology is deployed, and then ensuring that we have the framework and the technology pieces to make that happen.
Yeah, perfect, perfect. And maybe also, Víctor, you can share with us another risk that comes to your mind.
Well, risks about IIoT, obviously communications. I mean, there's always a fear that something might go wrong, or that you can suffer a cyber attack. I think that's the major risk for people to embrace the technology when the data needs to go, outside. It's not all in premise. Even though when it's on premise, they still complain. They have those fears. But it's building block by block, different levels of trust, and putting like different layers where you make sure that you are as safe as possible. Will never be, 100% safe in this environment, because obviously the connections is going out, the data is going out, but you need to balance it and sort of understand what the risk is and manage it the best way you can.
And Thomas, I think now we heard already some of the risks, some of the challenges. What do you think is the best way how we can manage them?
Yeah, I mentioned it before, so it's really working as a team, because one additional risk for the WIKA organization is also to losing the face in front of the customer. So I can repeat Rich, for example, with the trust aspect. So we have a very trustful environment with our customers, and here I see it really, if we offer something and if we are not delivering as we promised, then WIKA can also lose the face. And that is also the reason why sometimes it takes a bit longer in that complete approach. But yeah, that is from my perspective also something you all have to consider, not promise something which you cannot deliver. So really deliver that, what you promise towards your customers. And it is, again, really a team effort. We cannot address all of the topics. Cybersecurity will be a huge topic down the road. It's crystal clear. Some of you are the experts, so then we have to learn to use this expertise in our ecosystem to really address the right needs towards the customer and to avoid any hiccups afterwards.
Yeah, I completely agree that the ecosystem in general, what you also mentioned earlier in your keynotes, the ecosystem, finding the right partners within this ecosystem is definitely a way how we can manage them. Now when we focus also again on the strategic benefits and the strategic advantage. So when it really comes to implementing Industrial IoT, how an organization can create a strategic advantage. So I'm already looking at you, Rich.
Yes. Well, first of all, you need to understand what your problem is, yeah? So much effort has previously been spent on, it sounds harsh, but playing with technology, yeah, that's not the solution to the problem. The solution to the problem is doing smart stuff with your data at your disposal. Technology is the way to achieve that. One key piece to understand is that each technology is fit for purpose. There isn't a golden key that's going to work in all cases. There will be multiple security technologies, multiple communication technologies, multiple data management technologies, and those need to be applied in context. Again, it comes back to that understanding the use case. So to achieve strategic advantage is analyze the problem, understand what you want to achieve. If you are a company operating garbage collection trucks, then your goal might be to minimize the amount of rolls you need to make on the roads. Now, how can you achieve that? Well, if you know how full the bins are, then you can achieve that. That can be achieved by having the owner calling in or having a piece of IoT achieving the same thing. But working backwards, start with a use case, start what you want to achieve, then work your way backwards. And interesting enough, if you do that, technology is the very last piece you talk about. So don't go down the wrong path and start with technology. That's the last piece. Yeah. Start with a problem and then work your way backwards.
Yeah, no, interesting point. I think also Víctor has a very good example really describing on a project he was working with, where really our organization made it to find a competitive strategic advantage.
Well, the strategic advantage, obviously coming from the IIoT, as I said before, is productivity, quality, and reducing costs. That's the basic that you have to compete against anyone else. It has to be a strategic decision from the management level. That's very easy. Everyone, every time that you talk to someone and you tell them it's going to cost them less money for the same quality, they embrace it. But also, you need to have like a roadmap of where do you want to be in 5 years' time or 3 years' time. Because some clients, at least, from the first conversation, start talking about AI. Can you implement an algorithm, to do predictive maintenance, predictive consumption of energy, water? It's okay, do you have the data? No, we don't. If you don't have the data, there's nothing we can do in the next level. So you need to start preparing, for that AI evolution. And then those are the basic ones, but then sometimes you can be surprised what IIoT can do for you. We've got an example where one of our clients, we monitor all the production plant in the snack sector, and we help them to close a huge deal with one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, because they could differentiate them from other competitors that they went to the tender to get that contract, just because we were able to share real-time data with their client, not just with our client within their organization, but they could share the data real-time straight away with them, so they could make sure that the production was working perfectly, that they were complying with the contract demands, the requirements, and that's something that we always think there's a benefit sharing the data. There is no point of having the data just for yourself, and this opens new opportunities, or even getting new contracts, or differentiating yourself from the competitors. And I mean, we're really proud that we helped them to close that deal, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you for sharing this, and I think it's an important point, really being open also, not being closed. And I think then we also have once again, this ecosystem aspect in it with the partnerships, how important it is when we are talking about challenges and risk in general. And I think also with this example, I think it really sums it up and also give us a very good overview of the benefits and the challenges and the risks in general. And I want to thank you all for being here, also for sharing your perspective with us, also some examples. And now I hand over to my colleague Dario again.
Thank you. It was really